Growing up in a rural area that lacked digital recreational means, I perceive traditional stories were my valuable gifts. I got to read and cherish each moral lessons that I was taught, and up to now, those stories and the lessons learned from them have still been instilled many generations of students. Meanwhile, I realized that those stories negatively affect me. They concern me with the adverse effects on how the learner perceive and behave towards the negative things in real life. And now, let's reminisce a bit. Tóm! Tóm! Tóm Cám, a famous Vietnamese fairy tale, teaches so many generations that good will eventually triumph over evil. Following the motif of a fairy tale, Thumb is a character representing the good, but had an unfortunate fate. In almost people's minds, Thumb is an ideal type of good natured girl. However, these are Thumb's actions at the end of one of the most popular versions of Thumb Cam in the student's curriculum. Kill her sister, Cam, take Cam corpse to make the fish sauce, then send it as a surprising gift to the stepmother, which leads to the death in shock of the stepmother. In reality, quite a few people pay attention to this detail that a new evil was perfectly created, because the shadow of a gentle girl in them has been built over many generations. I wonder, why rarely do many people, including me in the past, react to what we learn? For example, ask questions about the ending of Tam Cam, when in the end, another evil was born that was even crueler and more ruthless. Likewise, questions pop up in my mind about the lessons that I was taught from traditional stories. The frog in the well, ếch ngồi đại giếng in Vietnamese, for example. This fable teaches people that don't be arrogant, otherwise we'll be in trouble. Like the frog had to cost its life because of being arrogant and self-centered. So why are we as learners taught to get out of our comfort zone, to broaden our horizons, but that frog can't get any chance to learn to change? The next story is Little Red Riding Hood. Why just a fairy tale for children contain detail full of war and death that the wolf devoured the Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother, and the wolf's stomach then was cut open, it then died and was killed? How about Little Mad Girl? A story with humanitarian value left unconcerned about how no child on this earth will have the same unfortunate fate as the little Mad Girl. But it is fair for that little girl to receive such a painful death on that New Year Eve. Actually, I oppose the way I got exposed to traditional stories, which I call a one-way communication process. I tended to irrationally acquire the piece of knowledge that I receive, and I do believe that this is the common situation for many people, like my brother or my classmates back then. The details are stereotypically ingrained in learner subconscious, like Thumb is obviously a kite girl, but eventually her actions go against moral values. Or people criticize the frog that it would have died if it hadn't been self-centered. But no one cared about the reason that formed its bad personality to sympathize with this for not having the right to live to the fullest. At the end of the day, I take a great concern into account with the lack of consciousness and novelty during the communication process. Using negative detail for fear, trauma, and obsessions not only hold people back from achieving the purpose of delivering positive educational values, but also cause adverse effects on the psyche and mindset of the learners. So, regarding the impact on the psyche, it can be seen that the most visible victims of negative stories are children, and I'm also one of them. I'm turning 21, and I have a fear of the dark. When traveling at night, I try to look straight and don't keep my eyes on the sides of the roads because I'm afraid of seeing something. As a child, I heard a lot of ghost stories and was often by their jokes like, "Ooh, there's something behind that tree." Or, "Do you see that black shadow?" I cried and sought help while people around me laughed gleefully at scaring a child. In a book I once read, The Midnight Library by Matei, the little girl cried out of fear because she had a nightmare about bears, and her father then apologized to her mother for showing her some bears on YouTube before. These small stories show that the kids tend to believe in the adults' words. Meanwhile, the adults tend to be satisfied with instilling fears into children. So, I do believe that children who are vulnerable need to receive information selectively. They should be told positive and funny stories rather than negative and scary ones for any purpose. Regarding the impact on the mindset, I think that people are expected to learn the positive lessons but from the negative mindset. Like, if you make a mistake, you have no chance to correct it. Besides, the trust in happy endings contributes to shaping a negative mindset that there needs to be a trade-off. Whether it is a relationship, a relative, or even a life, the lessons become more profound and powerful. In almost stories, the villains don't get a chance to realize their mistakes. This translates into responsibility and lessons for learners. So, what happens if we give our character that chance? I do believe that we can learn the inherent lessons and even other interesting ones from positive and novel views. As a learner, I do believe that I have the right to imagine new pictures for traditional stories so that I'm able to give my view on how positive the change is gonna be. And the chosen story today is The Frog in the Well. Assumption 1, there's no rain at all, and the frog still live in the well. It is an innocent frog, an arrogant frog, and enjoys its life until the day the food runs out or the well has an appearance of a snake. The frog then died, but did that flow more naturally and humanely, whereas can convey the lesson that people should get out of the well to survive in the long run. Assumption 2, the detail start to change when the frog come out of the well after the rain and it is an arrogant frog and the presence of the buffalo is still there, but instead of being trampled, the frog fortunately escaped from the buffalo fish and preserved its life. It can be seen that it is its second chance to live and learn from its mistakes. The frog then can continues to jump over puddles, go to rivers and realize that, oh, it turns out that such a big world still exists. Assumption 3, suppose the rain will come sooner and bring the frog out of the well after the rain, and when it is an innocent frog and discovering the surrounding world, following the frog footsteps, I can see the frog eyes light up when it immerses itself in the cooling water of the pond, the feeling that it has never experienced before. The frog then can see other friends and crouch together on rainy days. in the imaginary stories, the rain is no longer the cause of the frog death, but its stepping stone to go on its new journey of discovery and experience. Me, the second frog standing on the stage. I used to live in the well for 18 years, which partly shaped my personality traits, which were negative, disoriented, and lacking confidence. For me, stepping into the outside world is my opportunity to realize how I was and raise awareness of my continuous improvement. Through the valuable lessons and experience, I confidently say that I know for certain one of my aspirations is to spread positivity to the one around me and to the community. And considering the above frame of reference, I believe that there are many frogs like me out there. We make mistakes. We have fears. We under a lot of pressures. We are scared of raising our voice. But at the same time, the most valuable asset we have is this life. We're still alive and able to choose our own path. And regardless of whether your choosing path is to keep living in the world or stepping into the outside world on your own, please don't forget that you have more than one choice and more than one time to make your choice. Life goes on. People move on. And the simplest way to start moving on is by reacting to what we learn and cultivating positivity. Thank you.